Konnichiwa, everyone. Welcome to the Weerds podcast, where we talk all things weebish and nerdish. Remember to like and share and subscribe if you like today's episode. All right, today's podcast, Entering the Shadow Realm, covers the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Fun stuff. It's an oldie, but a goodie, except for 4Kids. The 4Kids dub ruined it, as most 4Kids dubs do.
Fair. Most old things are good until the wrong company gets a hold of them.
until 4Kids WB. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
That,
I think wasn't there 4Kids, and then it was 4Kids WB? Wasn't there like two different versions of it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh. Anyways.
It doesn't make a difference.
So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is... By the way, Yu-Gi-Oh! Means King of Games, for those of you who didn't know. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about a young boy named Yugi Moto who is in possession of the mystical Egyptian artifact, the Millennium Puzzle, which is a literal pyramid-shaped puzzle. After being the first one to solve it in 3,000 years, Yugi releases the spirit of the Millennium Puzzle, creating an alter ego of himself called Yami Yugi. And Yami literally translates to dark, so it's Dark Yugi. Together, they encounter all sorts of enemies and friends, solving puzzles and defeating games, and he is crowned the King of Games. Which makes more sense in the original version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but we'll get into that. So the demographic of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Japanese classification is shonen, which means it was primarily directed at teen boys, usually about like 15 to 18, around that age period. And its genre is adventure and fantasy. So the manga is written by Kazuki Takahashi, and it started back in September 30th, 1996, and went until March 8th, 2004. So a pretty good long run. Mm-hmm. It has a total of 38 volumes, and it has created 7 spin-offs from the start of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! So we got and this is in chronological order of how the series went. And this is all anime because after the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga that came after that is all from different authors. It's basically fan-made. It's not following what the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Plotline. So all of these I'm about to list, except for the first one, are all anime. The first one is manga specific because I think the original author wrote it or whatever. So, starting chronological order, first spinoff is Yu-Gi-Oh! R, which is not right after the original manga, but it's kind of like in the middle somewhere. I think it's like right after Battle City. And then after that is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which is put off a lot of people from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because it was very different from the original one. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which is basically revived Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's my personal favorite, and it's a lot of people's fan favorites.
All right.
Then we got Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, that made everyone think, oh, GX isn't that bad anymore. We got Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, or V, depending on who you talk to. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, which is the most recent version, which I dropped. Actually, I dropped after Vrains. I dropped Vrains because there was no cohesive story. It was like they didn't really introduce the characters well, and the main character they tried to make it too much like the main character of 5Ds, who Yusei. He's that cool, cold, awesome guy who's really good at the game, but has a soft heart.
Yeah.
They took that character, but took out the soft heart, so he's basically a robot, in my opinion, of the few episodes I've watched. That's why I dropped it.
As what?
Yeah. And then I refused to start Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s because they changed the format of the game.
How do you change the format of Yu-Gi-Oh?
So they basically... So in the layout of the game, of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, the game, they have the 5 monster zones, and then they have the 5 spell and trap card zones. They took 2 of each of the monster zones, spell and trap cards. They took 2 of each out.
Right. So
they reduced the deck size.
How much is a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh?
So it's usually about 40 to 60 cards.
Okay.
60 cards is the max limit. They had, so interesting story. They originally didn't have a max limit for the decks. They introduced the max limit after in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, a kid, he wanted a max limit on the deck size. And so to prove his point, he brought a deck that was about, I think, like 200 cards or something. It's an insane amount of cards, and he had to shuffle the whole thing, and it just pissed off his opponents so much that they finally introduced the card limit, which is 60 cards.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Also, there's no reason you want more than 60 cards, because even with 60 cards, it's really hard to get the cards you want for this combo or whatever you need. I personally usually stick to 40 to 44, 46. That's usually the sweet zone you want for a deck.
Right. It's a little more lenient. Is it a little more lenient than Pokemon? Because Pokemon you need a minimum of 60, but you can go higher. So
well, it depends on the format you're playing.
That's fair, yeah.
I know for standard Pokemon, I know like it's 60 period. Like you can only have 60 cards in your deck.
Right.
But depending like if you're playing free play or just custom, there's a lot of different formats to Pokemon, just like Magic the Gathering, there's different formats to do. But Yu-Gi-Oh, there's just one set standard game. So I would say Pokemon's more lenient than Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's fair.
Depending on the format you're playing.
Yeah. Which Yu-Gi-Oh? Because I watched the first season. Which Yu-Gi-Oh, if it's on the list, was this, I guess, season 2? The one where they had the little cube things? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Dungeons Dice Monsters.
Is that? Okay.
So that's part of the original series.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Never mind then.
See, that, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. So the anime of Yu-Gi-Oh! Went from April 4th, 1998 to October 10th, 1998.
So it recently had an anniversary then.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So this anime, the times I just told you, that's for the first series that they made for this series. And that was only released in Japan. And that was the 27 episode where it follows the first part of the original manga. So you got the first part of the manga where Yugi and all of his friends play a variety of different games rather than just Duel Monsters is the most popular game in the series.
Right.
But once they hit to the Duelist Kingdom arc, that's when Duel Monsters became much more prominent, which is when they made a more fleshed out version of the game. Because if you read the original manga and you see how they play the game, it makes no sense whatsoever. Like the rules for it doesn't make sense at all.
That's fair.
But it's just a game the creator made up on the spot just for the big game of the series. But so in the original manga, it has different arcs, which is named on the manga volumes. So the first part is just called Yu-Gi-Oh! And then it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. And then I think that goes on for a while until they get to Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium World, when they go back in time to the Pharaoh, which is Yami Yugi, back to his original time to restore his memories and all that. So the 27 episodes just covers the first part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, while the American adaptation starts at Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom, which is what everybody remembers. And there's no American dub version of the original. We fans call it the season 0 because it was only released in Japan, but there's ways to watch it for free.
Right.
I would suggest go and watch it because it really shows the original format that the author wanted. Because when you think of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, it's a kid show. It's very much more kid friendly, all that. But the Japanese versions, not kid friendly. For one thing, Shadow Realm, that was created from the 4Kids dub version. They straight up just killed people in the original manga.
So
I don't know if... Sir, how far have you gone?
Just first season.
Just the first season?
Yeah.
So there's a series called Battle City, which is where they introduce the dual discs, the thing on the arm.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch many of those, but I did see enough to know what that is.
Yeah, so that's when the dual disc, which Kaiba invented,
Right.
that's when that's introduced. And so Kaiba starts the Battle City tournament, and they have to battle it out all throughout Domino City. And so one part in that, Yugi gets led into this magician's lair, who also uses the Dark Magician. And so he traps Yugi in there, and they have to duel while there's chainsaws going where it represents starts at their life points areas, and as whoever reaches 0 in the 4Kids dubbed, it's once the chainsaws touch you, get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Right.
In the original manga, it's just a chainsaw.
Oh.
If you lose, you get your legs cut off. So yeah, the original manga and purpose was a lot more dark and a lot less kid-friendly. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense because Kaiba straight up tried to kill Yuki's grandfather.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I would highly suggest watching I mean, if you really aren't a big reader, don't want to read the manga, I was just trying to go out and find season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh because it's personally what got me into Yu-Gi-Oh. I read the original manga first, which is a lot more entertaining, in my opinion, than what it is now.
Right.
So the manga was published by Shueisha in Japan and Viz Media in English, and its magazine was Weekly Shonen Jump. So in the anime, the studio was Toei Animation. The original network was TV Asahi. It was directed by Hiroyuki Kakudo and written by Toshiki Inoue. So what was the last thing you like? I don't really remember the first season. How far up is that?
Yugi beats what's his face? I don't remember his name, honestly.
Describe him.
Pegasus.
Pegasus?
Yeah.
Oh, the gay guy.
Yeah.
That's a running joke. Everyone believes Pegasus is gay.
So what ended on the season 1 was Yugi defeats Pegasus. Kaiba's brother, right? Brother gets his soul back.
Yeah.
And Yugi's grandpa gets his soul back. And then it's like the next scene is the start of the Dungeons and Dice portion.
Yeah.
That they introduced that, and that's where that season ends.
So that's the Dungeons and Dice monsters. So there's a YouTube channel called Little Karibo where he did the abridged version of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Which is I think he's kind of started the whole abridged series on YouTube. So when they got to those Dungeon Dice Monster episodes, Yugi pretty much the whole time so it's just like Duel Monsters. He's like, it's nothing like Duel Monsters. And he keeps trying to explain the game. He's like, so it's just like Duel Monsters. Which basically, yeah, it is.
I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes of that series, like actual gameplay of it, but I don't remember it too well. But when I watched that little preview ending to the season, I started to remember what it was, and I actually did kind of like it. It just sucks that they don't have season 2, that portion on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I remember. The last actual thing I saw from Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the dual disc one. But I don't remember the episode. I just remember knowing of it and seeing it.
Right.
So I'm just gonna stick with the season one knowledge. By the way, I had one of those as a kid, the dual disc.
You had a dual disc?
Yeah,
oh, I'm jealous.
I still have it somewhere.
I want to get a dual disc.
It's so cool. Like you put your cards in the little port, draw to do this and that. It even has like the little slips for the spell cards. It popped out and everything popped out. It's really cool. I have it somewhere, but
I'm really jealous right now.
It's so cool.
I want to, as soon as I get it, because you can get, they made an anniversary one where I think you can fit car sleeve ones in.
Right.
But it costs about like I think $120.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
for an anniversary thing.
It's not too bad. It used to be so much more before they re-released, all of the new produced ones.
Right.
A few years ago, I looked at it and it cost like $300, $500. But those were like collectibles from the old
Right.
times.
Mine, basically.
Yeah.
At this point, mine. I mean, it's easy money if I ever want to sell it. I kind of don't want to, but
Yeah, but as soon as I'm financially secure, I'm buying one. So what was your initial reaction to watching the first season? Like, what drew you into completing the whole season?
I was kind of into Yu-Gi-Oh when I was younger for the manga, and I did watch some of it on 4Kids when it was on TV.
Yeah.
And I figured, no, I'm like, I want something to watch, and I was like, well, that Yu-Gi-Oh, is it on Netflix? So I look it up, I'm like, there it is. It wasn't until I finished season 1 that I realized
there's no season 2.
Wait, you got 1, you got 3, and you got 6. I might as well just stop here.
Might as well, or you would be lost.
Yeah. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Was kind of in the same realm as like Pokemon, Digimon, and Bakugan and all that. It's that fantasy kind of taking like a game and making it into like an actual fantasy thing.
Yeah.
You know? It's just
You
kind
could
of
also
that.
make a living playing games.
Exactly. That too, yep. So that's kind of what drew me into it.
I mean, you can in real life, but it's extremely difficult.
And unfortunately, you can't summon creatures from your
Not yet.
cards.
People are actually working on it. People are working on the holographic technology.
We're gonna have a real dual castle soon,
We will. Oh,
or battle tower, or whatever it was.
I'm sure we will.
Battle
As soon as
City.
they complete the holographic technology, I am opening up a gaming lounge where you can do that.
Then I'll probably actually get serious about Pokemon TCG. I could try Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'm fine with just Pokemon when it comes to TCG games.
So here's the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh now.
Right.
They have so many ridiculous spells that it's hard to have fun if you're playing competitive.
Right.
Because if you can get the first turn, you can get so many monsters out and have effects where your opponent can't even activate the effects they want on their turn that it becomes moot.
Right.
I mean, I have so many strategies where if I go second, I have a 1-turn kill.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do about it. So that's why if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, just play within your little game group.
Yeah.
Because if you try to play competitively, you're probably not going to have fun.
Fair.
But I'm going to give you my initial reaction for each series that they got. So Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously I loved it. It was great. Especially from reading it from the manga, because Yugi didn't give no crap about anybody.
Pretty much.
Also, the first chapter was when Yugi completed the Millennium Puzzle, and he had to go against the bully. And the game they did was they had a stack of money, and they had a knife. And so you put the stack of money on your hand, and then you stab the stack of money on your hand, and you take how many bills you cut into and stuck on the knife, and you keep going until someone stabs their hand. So if you stab your hand, you're out.
Wait, what?
See, I told you it's a lot more dark than you think.
It's not that. Explain it one more time for me.
So you have a stack of money.
Got that.
You put the money on your hand.
Oh, okay.
And then you take the knife and go.
I had it backwards. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So if you stab your hand, then you lose.
How big was the stack? Did they ever say?
I think it was like 20,000 yen or something.
Okay, so not too much.
It was about that much.
Okay, so not like the nowadays. So not like the generic like that much like
Not
big stack of bill.
Yeah, not the American $1 million bill
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a high school kid. He's not gonna have that much money.
Yeah, but do you see the games they're playing though? I don't really think it makes a difference.
But yeah, anyways, still. But yeah, and it was really interesting. And they kept having unique game situations that he's in where he uses brains to figure it out or just plain dumb luck. Yugi is a cheater, by the way.
I believe it.
If people don't notice, Yugi is a cheater.
I believe it.
The best duelist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Joey. Everybody else cheats. I'm still mad at the fact that Joey lost. So in Battle City, there's Joey faces off the big bad, Merrick. And the only reason he lost is because Merrick was using bullcrap magic for them to be fighting in the Shadow Realm.
Right.
And Joey being in just a mortal body, his body could not take it, so he fainted before he could declare an attack, making him disqualified from the game.
So he himself fainted.
Yeah.
Like
physically fainted because his body couldn't take the stress of being in that realm.
Okay.
It's the most hated upon moment in anime, in my opinion, because Joey was going to beat the pants off of Merrick, but because of bullcrap magic, he lost. Joey's the real winner of the Winged Dragon Raw, which is the most powerful card.
Right.
So anyways, my initial reactions for the rest of the shows. So I only have one volume of Yu-Gi-Oh! R. It's an interesting story. Yeah, it's an okay story. You don't really need to know it. It's Right. I'll just leave it at that. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I personally actually liked it. So the GX takes place in Duel Academy after the events of the original series. Kaiba opens up a Duel Academy on the Duelist Kingdom Island that Pegasus had the Duelist Kingdom that tournament on. People hated it. I personally liked it. 5D's best series. Card games on motorcycles. That's all I have to say.
Right.
Zexal, lost my faith in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, that's right. They did duel on motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
5Ds.
that too.
5D's card games on motorcycles.
That's right. I've maybe only seen like one episode, but it was the episode where they actually were dueling. I remember that.
It's the most ridiculous thing, but it's
so
awesome
cool.
to watch.
It really is. It's so cool. Forgot all about that.
And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal had the worst protagonist out of all the series, in my opinion. He's that annoying, hyperactive kid that everyone can't stand. And I dropped the series after like 10 episodes. I couldn't.
Fair.
I couldn't. Arc 5, I actually really enjoyed. Because what I do enjoy about Arc 5 is, so each series had their own like specific special summoning that they introduced new in the series. Like GX was predominantly used fusions, which kind of helped grow the fusion genre.
Right.
5D has introduced synchro monsters, and Zexal introduced Xyz monsters. What's interesting about Arc 5 is they actually used all of the different kinds of special summoning ways. So it actually provided more of a variety of duels that they could do, and it was a lot more entertaining to watch.
Right.
Friends, I talked about it, dropped it, don't care. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, will never watch it. I have no desire to watch it.
Fair.
So yeah, those are all my initial reactions for all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So all in all, watch the original version. That's all you need. And 5Ds, because card games on motorcycles.
Yeah, that's really. That was really cool. I like that.
Also, Yusei is the best main character, in my opinion.
What was the series? I'm starting to remember a little bit more now. What was the series? There was a series where Kaiba kind of upgraded the dual blade. I may have already seen it. Oh, then,
Kaiba,
okay.
Because Mokubo's kidnapped, so Kaiba came on the island.
You're right.
And so that's when he had the dual disc where you actually threw it. And then afterwards he perfected it into just the arm.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of then. Okay. Yeah, never mind then. That was still a pretty cool little invention either way.
It was funny. I wanted one after I saw that. I was like, I wanted to do that. It looks like so much fun.
No longer are we restricted to stadiums. We can take it anywhere.
Also, think about it, it's like he just made a dual disc frisbee.
Basically.
That's what I call it. It's the dual disc frisbee. So, what was your favorite character of the series? I know that you didn't have a lot.
Honestly, in the one season that I watched,
Yeah.
probably Joey.
Joey's my favorite too.
Honestly, you can't not like him.
Joey's the best friend.
Pretty much.
He's such a loyal person.
And honestly, his development throughout that first season really showed. Because it was like, first he was kind of bad at battling.
He had no idea how to play the game.
Yeah, but you could see progressively with each battle he had.
With each battle, he became better and better and better. And then you see he's one of the best duelists in the series.
It was really impressive too when he got out of that little funk he was at with the guy who had the zombie deck, I think it was. Where he's stuck in a cave. Because basically it was either he wins or he just he gets stuck in the cave or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just like turned it around so brilliantly. It's just like, good job, Joey. You finally did something.
And then it was funny when he was up against My Valentine, and she was cheating. She put different perfumes on her cards, and Joey, being the bloodhound he is, was able to sniff it out.
He used the skills.
Yeah, he used his own personal skills, and then wiped the floor with her.
Pretty much.
I know it's like a lot of people complain about Joey's deck relying a lot on luck. And I'm like, have you seen the game? The game's nothing but luck.
Pretty much.
Honestly, Heart of Cards, that's called bullcrap luck.
It's also called
cheating.
Cheating.
I drew the card I needed at the exact moment. Bro, that's cheating. Honestly,
no, it's the Heart of the Cards.
Heart of the Cards. So
I believe in my cards, and they believed in me. Dude, I saw you looking through your deck just now. No, you don't.
There was Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. So in the season 0, the character designs, they were a little bit different. Kaiba had green hair. So it was funny when there's a part of Battle City where Yugi and Kaiba are just in a helicopter flying to the next destination. They're going to... Joe got brainwashed, and so they're going to where he is. So in the British version, they're just talking about their past, having... It is the basic recap episode. So they're doing a play on that. And they're thinking back to their first battle, but it was the season 0 version of it. So the abridged version is, Yugi, you can't beat me. Or no, it's here's the line. It's screw the rules, I have green hair. And then they go back to the present, and Kaiba's like, man, I gotta lay off the drugs. So yeah.
That makes sense.
You want to watch a good series on YouTube? Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. So personally, my favorite character in the original Yu-Gi verse. See, there's so many. I don't want to pick Joey because you picked him.
Right.
People may not like this, but I really liked Yami Bakura, which is Bakura's dark side, the Millennium Ring, because I think he was such a great villain.
Oh.
Especially because he was in the original series, in the original manga, he was the first big villain that they fought.
Right.
And he actually he led them to Bakura's apartment to play an RPG game, and he actually trapped their souls into little miniatures, and then doing that brought Yugi's the Yami Yugi started playing as the actual player, and they were just the miniatures, which helped the development of people, of Yugi and his friends realizing Yugi has an alter ego, which didn't really make sense if you just watch the Duelist Kingdom, because they're just kind of like, yeah, he has an alter ego, and there's no development for that. But in the original, there's a lot more development that happened, and it was because of Yami Bakura. And he was such a great villain because, you think he's gone, and then he's back, and then you think he's gone again, and he's back.
Right.
And he does such a good job at manipulating the situation into the way he wants. So yeah, I liked him. He was a good villain. He was also, and the Bakura as well was a great character, because he'll disappear sometimes, and then he comes back, and then you think, he gets you thinking about what else could go on in the situation.
Right. I want to throw this in here too. I think we were talking about our favorite characters, and we usually don't talk about our least favorite characters.
Oh, true.
And for unrelated reasons, the guy with the bug deck just is
So
my
annoying.
favorite. Not only did he just basically throw cards away of another contestant, which is
I'm sorry, but that's Yugi's fault.
it kind
He
of
should have seen that miles away.
It is, but at the same time, it's still his action.
Yeah, it's
as
still
well.
no. I get what you're saying, but still,
But then otherwise, all the other interactions they had with him.
he's an annoying person.
Yeah, he's not. It's not that he's bad. It's just that he's really annoying.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Well, he's pretty bad because in Battle City, Joey duels him, but he gets the insect guy gets another kid to put a card in Joey's deck that it's called, I think it's like Parasite something,
right.
where as soon as Joey draws it, it infects his cards, and I'm like, well, that's a dick move.
It really is. That's,
You can't just change somebody's deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree. He's terrible. My least favorite character, honestly, Kaiba. Kaiba, get over yourself.
Egotistical.
Seriously, I would say because he's not a villain. He's more of like an anti-villain, I guess.
A diet villain.
Diet villain, yeah. But honestly, he's just so unlikable and so annoying.
I mean, do you remember his fight with Yugi on top of the castle? He's like, "Oh no, I'm losing. Let me try to jump off the castle."
Bro, he literally is like, kill me, Yugi, or else forfeit the match. And I'm like, you pretentious little drama queen.
Yugi's in a not in a win-win in a sense, but he's in a win-win as either he wins the fight
or Kaiba dies.
Yeah, I mean, but he still wins the fight. The only one that loses anything is really Kaiba if he decides to go through with it.
No, because he made Yugi surrender.
Right.
Otherwise, he was going to kill himself. So Yama Yugi was full out ready to go yeet Kaiba off the side of the building. Well, because also if Yugi attacked, then the force shockwaves of the duel. Oh, dumbest thing in the world. They're holograms. They can't create shockwaves.
They don't have enough force. They're just lights.
Yeah, it's not a shadow game. There is no real life damage going on here.
Like, look, I understand the severity of winning. I guess this fight, was there even a purpose to him fighting Yugi at that point? Or was it just to do it?
Pegasus told him to get the stars.
Yeah.
Because he needed the star chips to enter the castle.
That's fair. I mean, there's I get the severity to that fight, but like,
Kaiba was a little drama queen.
Yeah, there's so many other ways you could have dealt with this.
I was full out rooting for Yugi to just yeet him off the side. Yami Yugi was full out prepared. He's like, yeah, I'm going to attack, and then little moral Yugi inside of him was like, no, I'm going to lose to save Kaiba's life. Yeah. Which, yeah, I get it. In real world, yeah, save everybody's life, do the right thing. But this is fake world. Kaiba would have survived anyways.
Fair.
This is an anime world. He's jumped. Here's why I know he would have survived. When Pegasus first went after him, he jumped out a 10-story window in crashing waves and survived.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell me he won't survive that.
He also is the guy with the technology who invents stuff. So I'm sure he had a plan A and a plan B of if he had to jump.
Yeah. Kaiba, he wouldn't have died from that situation. Yugi, just yeet him off the building.
Pretty much.
Also, Kaiba is obsessed with Yami Yugi. They created a movie called The Dark Side of Dimensions. So Kaiba is obsessed with getting Yami Yugi so he can have this final duel. At the end of the movie, he basically kills himself because he finally gets into the afterworld, the realm because Yami Yugi is dead now. you go to have his final duel is like, so Kaiba, you just killed yourself to have your duel against your greatest rival. What's wrong with you?
He's
He is obsessed with him.
yeah. Not for lack of better terms. I'm trying to think of the actual word I want to use.
And guess
but, yeah.
what? He still would have lost.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Kaiba, you still would have lost.
that's fair. That's fair.
This has just turned into a Kaiba bashing session. Alright, so, fun part. Give your rating.
Ratings. Can I add another section before
Sure.
we do ratings? Creatures, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Is what you want to call it.
Monsters.
Monsters, yeah. Favorite monsters. Because it's a lot. Because there's characters and there's monsters, and there's different different types of each of them.
So, you give your favorite monster from your season. I'll give
It's
mine.
only one I have.
Yeah, I'll give mine, and also I'll give my favorite archetype to play.
Fair. Obviously, I want to say Karibo because it's Karibo. Wolf. But
Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. That's what he makes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge.
But if I have to be honest, and this is more from not really being like a generic fan, this was more of just it's the first thing that interested me in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Is a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I mean, that's everybody's favorite.
Slash was it Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, right? Is that the name of it?
There's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
No, the Toon version.
Oh, Toon.
Yeah,
I heard
Blue
just
Eyes
Toon. Yeah,
version.
Blue Eyes Toon Dragon.
It goes between them depending on what I guess my mood is, but but both of those are
They're
probably
the
my
same
favorite.
exact card. Just pick
One-
both.
One is an actual thing, and one is
Just pick both.
fine. Both.
Okay, then.
I don't know why. I kind of like the idea of the whole tune, versions of the tune cards or whatever. Although that one tune card that Pegasus uses that like traps them or traps creatures, turning them into tune monsters. Yeah, I mean it's impressive.
It
But
doesn't
it's kinda,
exist, but
yeah.
by the way.
I know, but I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what
my
you're saying.
experience of the anime.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying that card is bullcrap and everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite monster from this first season, I want to say, because I have a couple. I like Red Eyes Black Dragon,
Right.
and I like Thousand Dragon. And but I really wanted to see was a fusion counterpart with Red Eyes and Blue Eyes White Dragon fused together.
Purple Eyes Dragon.
Yeah, sure. I would have liked to see that. That would have been pretty cool, but my dream will never be fulfilled. So, my favorite archetype to actually play in the TCG world of Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually like to play the Dragon Maid archetype
Mm-hmm.
because one of the key features of it is so you have the human version, which when it's summoned, it activates effect, so you can like cycle cards and stuff like that.
Right.
And then once you enter the battle phase, you can return it to your hand and then play its adult version from either your hand or the graveyard.
Okay.
So it's very powerful and very annoying for people because even if they get rid of your adult dragons with like Mirror Force or something, you still have the human forms in your hand that you can resummon.
That's
So
I like it.
It's a very good archetype to play. The only downside is if you shut down your opponent shut down your graveyard, you're pretty much done.
You're right.
Which is why I have anti-spell and trap cards and all it. So there's ways to get around that. But yeah, that's one of my favorite archetypes to play. The other is I like playing the Six Samurais, which for obvious reasons, it's a samurai deck. It also took me about 5 years to complete.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about it is it's very if I can get it going, which actually I can get it going pretty fast. I can get about 5 monsters out on my first turn. So
Pretty good.
it's pretty good. And then my third favorite deck to play, I really like to play Crystal Beasts, mainly because when I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the character who played the Crystal Beast cards was my favorite character. So, fair,
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, those are the archetypes I like to play with. So, rating time. What's your rating?
What were it was the dual disc, right? The one on the wrist. That's what the official name was, right?
Yeah.
What was the one that you? What was the original? The one that you?
It's still called the dual
Still
disc.
the same thing. Okay. So, I'm gonna have.
We fans, well, at least me personally, call it the Frisbee disc.
Okay, so because my rating, 20 Frisbee discs to about 5 dual discs.
It's a pretty good rating.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is 3,000 Blue Eyes White Dragons.
Okay.
Do you get that? Because he has 3,000 attack.
True.
Out of 2,400 Red Eyes Black Dragons. Because he has 2,400 attack.
True.
Remember, kids, your joke's not funny if you have to explain it. Now we have entered the interesting facts portion of the podcast, where we have packs that we both definitely came up with. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
The fact realm.
The fact realm.
Yes.
So, first fact. As I've previously stated multiple times, the manga was much more dark. Bandit Keith and Pegasus actually both died in the manga.
Interesting.
Bandit Keith, he pulled a gun on Pegasus, and then Pegasus used mind control to force Bandit Keith to shoot himself in the head.
Dark.
Yep. And then Pegasus was killed by Yami Bakura when Bakura rips out the Millennium Eye from his head.
Also dark.
I told you, man. So both of these events did not happen in the anime, and both characters actually became reoccurring characters in the anime. Interesting enough, Yu-Gi-Oh! R, it's actually a story about Pegasus' adoptive kids who try to take revenge on Yugi because they think Yugi killed Pegasus.
Okay.
Which is why I say the story it's all right.
Right.
Because it's kind of...
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, a lot more dark. People actually died in the manga.
I mean, if you look at the, I don't remember what the exact one is. The Pokemon Yellow Green series.
The Pokemon Adventures. That's Blue's Charmeleon sliced an Arbok in half.
Yeah, when I first read that, I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and it's just regular Pokemon fighting. And then I get to the scene where Arbok's in 2 pieces. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, and then Red literally gets frozen.
Yeah.
And then Pikachu gets damaged because he also got frozen on the arms and legs, almost making him disabled. There's tons of stuff that happened in the Pokemon Adventures.
Pokemon doesn't like mountains.
It really doesn't.
Charizard can burn them. I think it's Machamp can move them, and Tyranitar just eats mountains or something like that.
Pokemon wants a level playing field.
Literally. So here's a fun fact that I did not remember until now, but I've definitely heard it before, and I think it's awesome. And you can definitely go listen to the separate soundtracks of each characters. But the American version of Brock.
Yeah, American version.
The American voice actor for, what was it,
Seto
Kaiba, was also the voice actor for Brock from Pokemon. Yeah. And again, you can listen to clips of each character.
There's many compilation videos of them doing clips of each, and you can listen to it. And it's like, holy crap, that is Brock.
I will show you after we're done here, but I'll probably pull it up on the YouTube video. Someone did artwork of Brock in Kaiba's outfit.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it really is good. And I'm like, and that's where I got that fact from originally, because I'm like, oh, this is so funny. And then my friend's like, oh, well, they're the same voice actor. Huh?
Yeah.
Like 2 different universes. What the heck? That's so
cool. It's really weird listening to Brock now, because all I can think is, that's Seto Kaiba.
Or vice versa. You can keep hearing him.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I like that.
I mean, Seto Kaiba, he's moody. And then you listen to Brock and he's all happy. And it's like, that's so weird. So that's what Seto Kaiba would be like if he was happy.
Good to know.
So another interesting Seto Kaiba fact was that Seto Kaiba was actually based off of a real person. Kazuki Takahashi, he knew a friend who, well, his friend introduced him to another friend who was into collectible card games, and the friend introduced Takahashi to another player to ask if he could teach Takahashi how to play. And the player refused him and told him to come back after he collected 10,000 cards. Very Seto Kaiba.
Yeah.
And so this encounter gave Takahashi the character idea of having a character who thought he was too good to play with lesser players.
That's also a really weird request. But sure.
I mean, it's that all I've seen these players many, many times where they're all high and mighty, and it's like, unless you have a large collection, you don't deserve to play with me kind of attitude, which is absolutely ridiculous. Stay away from those people.
Yes, stay away from them. Stay away from them. Stay away from those people also in terms of not card games. Just stay away from those people in general.
People who are very arrogant and, put others down and think less of everybody, they're just not good people to hang around, and they'll screw up your mentality.
Pretty much. Another interesting fact, Slifer the Sky Dragon was originally named Osiris.
The Egyptian god of death.
In the Japanese version. The American version was named after Roger Slifer. Slifer? Yeah, Slifer. Who co-produced the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! For the 4Kids Entertainment.
So here's my problem with this.
Okay.
There was no reason to change his name. Especially since the cards are based off of the Egyptian gods.
Right.
Because we got the Winged Dragon of Ra, based off of Ra.
Mm.
We got Obelix the Tormentor, who's based off of the huge obelisk. And then we got Osiris, the Egyptian god of death. And they changed it to Slifer. Slifer no slifing. Which is a major joke. Played it against his name. I think it would have been cooler to actually create a card that was named after Roger Slifer. I think that would have been a lot... Personally, I think that would have been a lot... what's the word? Appropriate, yeah.
Okay.
More appropriate than just taking, a powerful card and just renaming it just because.
Right.
Also, Osiris is such a cool name, and they hardly ever use it. They just use it as a plot point where there's like, yes, this card actually has a second name, Osiris. Right. And it's like, it does nothing for the story.
Right.
But, what's done is done.
Potatoes will always be potatoes.
Yeah. I mean, I just wish they had released an American card with the name Osiris on it. But, Slifer no slifing. Arigato everyone for watching to the end. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed our content, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to keep updated. We look forward to making more content for you guys. Sayonara.
Bye.